This question says a line has a slope of 3 over 4 and goes through the points -8 and -5 and the other point x and -3.5. It asks us what is the value of x. There's a couple of ways you could figure this out. You could draw the line, put on the point -8 and -5, then count up 3 and over 4, and connect all those dots that you would come up with a straight line, and then see when you are at a y value of -3.5, what is x? So that's one way you could do it. Probably the easier way is to use the slope formula that we've learned. So the slope formula says slope m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right, well, the slope was given this time. Usually we have to figure out the slope, but they gave it to us, 3 over 4. Then we've got to replace the x values and the y values. So y2 is -3.5 minus y1, which was -5, all over x2, which is x, minus -8. Now let's make this look a little simpler. -3.5 minus -5 is just +5. X minus -8 is x plus 8. All right, and once again, we can simplify a bit more. -3.5 plus 5 would give us 1.5 over x plus 8. All right, now we're at the point where we've got to try and find out what x is, and it is on the denominator of the second fraction here. So a little trick is to get rid of the fractions, something we learned in our algebra unit. So if I want to get rid of the fractions, well, if I want to get rid of the fractions on the left-hand side, I need to multiply by 4. So I'm going to multiply this side by 4. But if I multiply the left-hand side by 4, I have to multiply the right-hand side by 4. Now I also want to get rid of that denominator on the right-hand side, that x plus 8. So I'm going to multiply this side by x plus 8, and I'm going to multiply this side by x plus 8. This is really also just showing you the long form of cross multiplying. If you've learned cross multiplying, you can just go straight to doing that. You don't have to show all this work. I'm just explaining how we got there. So here we've got x plus 8 times 4 times 3 over 4. Well, those 4's cancel. That was the whole point of doing that. Over here, the x plus 8 cancels with the x plus 8. So on the left, we've got x plus 8 times 3, or 3 times x plus 8. And on the right, we've got 4 times 1.5. Okay, so now we can use the distributive property. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 8 is 24. 4 times 1.5 gives us 6. Now we want to get that x by itself, so subtract 24 from each side. 6 minus 24 would give us -18. And then to get the x completely by itself, divide each side by 3, and you'll get x equals -6. And that is the answer.